for your soul!
Come get some.
This is my boomstick!
Hail to the king, baby.
All right, so today we're gonna be looking at the King. The King is the first guitar amp plugin from AugustRose Audio, a relatively new company founded by my buddy, Jeremy Fox. Jeremy's already released 2 free pedal plugins, and now this is his first paid plugin in the form of a killer guitar amp suite based off of one that he owns, the Marshall JCM 800 Signature Kerry King amp. It's currently based on the amp with the Beast switch on, and he plans on updating the plugin with the additional option of turning the switch off, so it'll run more like a standard JCM 800. As it is, this thing has more than enough gain and dynamics to go from crunchy tones all the way up to screaming leads, so let's go ahead and go over some of the features and hear some of the tones from the plugin. And as a disclaimer, Jeremy did send me this plugin for free and asked me to make presets for it. If you're interested in purchasing the plugin after watching this review, using the affiliate link in the description will give me a share of the sale, directly supporting me and my content on this channel. First up, let's start with the user interface. We have our input and output knobs. We have our navigation tabs here at the top that are going to take us from our pedal section, head, EQ, and cabinet sections. With the navigation tabs, you can right-click them to disengage any one of them and just bypass them completely. Right next to that, we have our preset section with our factory presets and artist presets, including my own. Let's take a moment and talk about this stereo on, stereo off switch. From my understanding, what it does is it takes a mono signal if it's panned far left. It copies the left signal over to the right, basically making a mono signal so that way you don't have a guitar coming just out your left speaker. This does not switch it from a mono to stereo output. In the pedal section, we have a series of overdrive pedals, including the Howler, which is his first plugin. This one is basically a mid-forward boost with a cut on the low end. This Photon is a Fortin modded TS-808 overdrive pedal with the overdrive, tone, and level knobs. The tweaker is sort of just a little bit more nuanced EQ that you can use high mids, highs, low mids, lows. It gives you a little bit more direct control over your DI, as well as just a level knob to go back into the head. Moving over to the head section, we have the King. It has your basic tone stack, presence, bass, mid, treble, your master knob. If you want a little bit more compression, a little bit more saturation, boost your master volume, and that's gonna give you a little bit more low mids, a little bit more saturated sound. It's great for leads, I find, but a lot of rhythm tones, I usually drag the master back to about 4. Your preamp knob is gonna be where the majority of your saturation is gonna come from. I like to have it around 6. That usually gives it a pretty aggressive feel to it, but it really does handle itself well when you push it up a little bit higher than that too. All right, let's talk about the gate. The gate is a little counterintuitive to what I'm used to with a lot of guitar plugins, because on a lot of guitar plugins, you have the gate threshold. A lower number means more signals let in, and a higher number means a more aggressive gate, but it is actually the opposite with this, and it's probably just based off of what the actual head is doing. So the more the higher the threshold, the more DI signal is being let through. The lower the threshold, the less DI is being sent through. So it's a little counterintuitive to me, but usually I like the gate around 6 or higher. The Assault knob is going to give you a little bit more saturation and a little bit of brightness. I found that I didn't need it a ton. It's really great on leads when you want to brighten up the signal just a little bit to stand out in the mix, but I found I got a lot of the treble and the presence, a lot of that sheen from that tone stack, so I didn't need it too terribly often. You have a 9-band EQ that is great for molding your sound. It really kind of simplifies your workflow because then you don't have to go to an additional EQ after the fact whenever you're dialing in your tone. So this gives you a level of control over your sound that's really fantastic. And again, just kind of simplifies your workflow. In the cab section, you have a great selection of built-in IRs that are curated by Jeremy Fox for this, as well as an additional couple of Bogren Digital IRs, which Jeremy Fox actually used to work for Bogren Digital, and they were nice enough to give him some of their IRs to put into the cabinet. So the controls are pretty similar to what most people are going to be used to. Just click the drop-down menu to pick your impulse response. You can load your external impulse responses. You have volume knobs, on and off switch, and then flip the polarity of your impulse response, just in case you have something out of phase. And with all that being said, let's go ahead and listen to some of the tones that I dialed in for this demo in solo. I did as little post EQing as possible. I think I did just a tiny little dip around 1.6, 1K on the rhythm bus, but I'll go ahead and go through my presets just briefly so we can hear what they sound like. So let's go ahead and listen to the rhythm guitars. I quad tracked this song because I really wanted it to be big and menacing. Okay, so let me break down a couple of the decisions that I made. Between the two, I decided to go for an interesting stereo spread. I wanted the brighter guitars to be full left, full right, and a little bit of the warmer guitars to be more towards the center. So these first two guitars were panned 78 left, 78 right to give a little bit more of the mids towards the center. And then I had the second pair of guitars tuned far left and far right, so that way all the brightness gets pushed out to the outer edges of the mix. I guess my thinking with how I was producing this song is I really wanted the guitars to be really up in your face, but also not so overbearing that they overtake the rest of the mix. So I really wanted, like, you know, the kind of the mids to be up front and the bright kind of like shininess of the second pair to be out at the edges of the mix. And the impulse responses really did help a lot. So this Two-Way Madsen Mix Modern impulse response gave me kind of that brightness that I was looking for. And then in the first pair, the warmer pair, I went strings and zings and throne room tones. If you purchase the plugin, you'll get these particular presets as well, so you can give them a go yourself. So let's go ahead and go over the pedals real quick and hear how they affect our guitar tones. I'm gonna take that second kind of brighter pair and listen to them. This is with the howler off and mix at 100%. See, I really like the howler because of this mix knob. It allows you to blend back in your original DI sound. So with the mix at 100%, it was starting to sound a little bit too fizzy. So dialing back the mix was able to kind of bring that back a little bit and allow some of those low ends to kind of bloom as well. Let's take a listen to the photon. So I really like the sound of this overdrive. Beyond that, we have the tweaker, which just, again, allows you sort of an EQ, high mids, highs, low mids, lows, a little bit more control over your DI and how you EQ it into the amp. I like the tweaker. It sounds cool to be able to have that sort of control over your DI. I may probably gravitate more towards the howler or the photon as an overdrive, but I imagine probably having that EQ is probably going to be good. So let's take a look at this lead preset. For the impulse responses, I used Cabin Fever and Watt or Rain. These are the stock ones that Jeremy curated for this amp. As I said in the overview, the Assault knob I did use to brighten up the tone a little bit, which I really, really enjoyed. I did use the tweaker, boosted it a little bit, the high mids, the highs, and the overall level into the head so we could have this wonderful tone. That's pretty much it. Awesome. I had a ton of fun working on this particular track. I had a ton of fun working with this particular plugin, and I really, really enjoyed it because it's just a different offering than what's out on the market right now. Out on the market, you have a ton of 5150s, a ton of Mesa Boogies. You really only have Softtube that has a Kerry King Signature Marshall amp sim, and that's not one that's really talked about too often. But I love the Marshall tone, I love the Marshall breakup, distortion, kind of saturation style that the Marshall amps have, and this is a great offering for a really reasonable price, I feel, if you want to add that particular flavor to your mixes. Along with that, you do have some spectacular impulse responses. He does have these impulse responses available on his website as well. If you use the affiliate link in the description, that also will support this channel. But it really does give you an additional layer of versatility to your guitar tones to have these particular impulse responses available for your sounds. So I would say it's a great offering if you feel like you are missing this particular color to your palette. And again, I really enjoyed working with Jeremy on this. He really did pour a lot of his heart and soul into this particular plugin, and I would say I'm very, very excited to see what he comes out with next. And with that being said, I'll catch you on the next one.